Hey friends, welcome back to the Rising Tide podcast. We are, we're so excited that you're here. My name's Austin Samuelson. This is my good friend, Matt Carpenter. Matt, how are you?
Great.
Yeah?
Great. Super good to be together.
That's good. We got a jam-packed schedule today. Maybe that's the wrong way to put it. I
No, I
like
think it's
that,
gonna
a
be
little bit.
full.
But
It's gonna be full,
I'm like
for
super
sure.
pumped about it. We got some drawings here. Like this is like
Yeah, I decided I
mind-blowing.
didn't want to
I'm
be
super
drawing
pumped.
everything in the middle of the podcast, so that's my feeble attempt at a tree of life and a tree of death right
Yeah.
there. That's what we're gonna go off of.
Okay, so I didn't warn you about this, but I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. Anything new going on that you want to share, or anything that's just it's happening that you're excited about?
I think we talked last time about the marriage reset.
Yeah.
And I did just get back a couple of days ago from California. I was with some amazing men out there doing a men's reset. And it continues to amaze me how God shows up in such an incredible way that the very first night, there's men coming from different locations and vocations and, different races, different social economic status. And I'm telling you, Austin, like within the first hour of being there, it's like God has brought supernatural unity.
Wow.
So much so that I'm literally getting messages as we speak.
Yeah.
That's in that group text. That's like these guys going back and forth, both about like what they're applying, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Because I think if we don't apply the word of God, it becomes useless to us. Maybe worse than that.
Yeah.
Because it ends up being a prideful thing, and we get bigger heads about things and farther away from God. But also they're like, one of the guys was just saying, I think last night, that he's experienced this thing since he's got home that he's only experienced basically after family get-togethers in the past. And he said it's homesickness.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, I feel that with you guys, that like in such a short time, God brought us together in such an incredible way that like,
that's incredible.
yeah, that he's feeling homesick for these guys. And I feel it too, man.
Yeah.
Like I really do. It's like I honestly, I've just been praying continually for just God keeps on bringing those guys to my memory, and just praying that God would help us to bring his truth home. And I know it's happening, that's like so much the heart of the resets is, can we slow down long enough? Not just to be together with each other, but to be together with the Lord. And can we get an understanding of some sacred principles with some simple practices?
Yeah.
So that we can go home and bring God's kingdom come into our marriage, into our family, into our community. And I believe it's happening. The hope is over the next couple of years to have multiple resets, men, marriage, and family across the West Coast, and it's going to happen through those guys. I believe it.
That's awesome.
There's like God's raising up generational leaders there, and so excited for that.
And praise God.
Yeah, and I continue to just be amazed. Like each place that God's allowing me to be a part of this with men from different regions. There's so much of it that is different, but so much of it's the same.
Yeah.
And God's the one who's faithful through it all.
Wow.
So so amazing, and excited for what's next. In just a few weeks here, we'll have another Rising Tide men's reset in Branson, Missouri, or on Table Rock Lake, and so that's April 16 through 19. Which this may be just releasing about then. So I don't know that it's fair warning, but anyway, excited for it.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I think the thing I love when you talk about these and you talk about leading up to them, and we talked about this at the marriage reset, was this like really high hopes that God is going to just do something incredible with non-specific expectations.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so cool. I don't know, the way that I've seen you live that out, and then when you come back and I'm like, tell me about it, and it's like, wait, how could it be better than what you were hoping for? And yet it was.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, no, I think there's something to that is, I think when we put super specific expectations on God, very rarely does God fulfill things in the way that we thought he would. Like his ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not, and they're higher. Like they're not less than, they're higher than, but they're not the same. And so when we say to God, basically, this is what I expect you to do
Yeah.
in this way, I think we end up disappointed by
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, we do.
Because we've put the wrong expectations on. We've said to him, I want you to be like me.
Mm-hmm.
And God's like, no, I want you to be like me.
Yeah.
And so that means we have to elevate or raise our expectations and probably make them less specific,
Yeah.
or especially if it's circumstantially specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's so good. I was having a conversation with a guy this morning, and I was asking him what he's hopeful for, and I could so resonate with his response. I could see it all over his face because I've been there. I've been there when you've asked me this question, and he's like, I'm afraid to hope for anything right now.
Wow.
And but it was that we started talking through that. It was
Yeah.
this concept of like, I've put these very specific expectations,
Yes.
and God didn't come through. And so, but man, that's such a reframing. And I think it's just such a beautiful reframing. And I'm just, I don't know. I know I just said, hey, we got all this great stuff to talk about. And then we're totally going off script with that.
No, I
but
think
it's
that
a
leads straight
beautiful
into it. I
thing.
really
Yeah.
do, Austin, because even within rising tide, if there is a thing that is rising tide, it is a hope.
Yeah.
And it's a hope for cultural transformation.
I love it.
That starts with personal transformation.
Yeah.
That is, until we can start to believe in who God is, and therefore then who we can be anew, which is a living hope.
Yeah.
Any hope that's circumstantial is a dead hope. But a hope of who we can become or who other people can become, and that we could actually become more like Christ.
Yeah.
That's a living hope. And that's where what Peter says is you have to start off with a chosen people and a living hope. And then you take pure desire and you add a holy action to it, and you get cultural transformation.
Wow.
And it really is that simple. Now, that's not simple, but because there's a lot involved in that. But it is that simple. At least that seems to be what Peter's saying.
Yeah.
Like even in the midst of Roman culture, which was pretty depraved, he's saying, listen, we are a chosen people, even though we've been scattered, if we just reunite.
Yeah.
And if we reunite and remember that we still have a living hope. Our circumstances let us down, but God didn't.
Yeah.
And that was really the story of the Israelites.
Yeah.
They expected God to do this, this, and this on the basis of land, on the basis of government, on the basis of, like finance or whatever you want to call that for them. They expected God to do those things. And in that, they were let down.
Yeah.
But God didn't let them down because he wasn't about those things. And so that's what Peter's saying. If we remember that we're a chosen people, even though we were scattered, and if we'll come back to the fact that we still have a living hope, and that living hope was reinstituted through Christ, and he gave us the chance to be who we are, who we were meant to be again.
Yeah.
And then if we just now take our pure desires, add holy action to them, even in the midst of Roman culture, Roman occupation, Roman oppression, we will see cultural transformation. And I do think that's if there is a thing that is the rising tide, it's hope.
Yeah.
And it's hope for cultural transformation through new identity in Christ. And so and that really, I think, serves as a perfect lead-in for what we're talking about. You know, we came out of last episode talking about Eden.
Yeah.
And you remember the 5 strokes of Eden?
Yeah. I'm going to try here.
Yeah.
Moment, spot, place,
presence.
I was like, it can't be, but it's a P word. Presence. You got to help me out.
And open door.
Open door. Yes.
And then delight.
Delight.
You love how I put you on the spot
Mitchell
there.
was giving me hand motions back there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch
So if we
him.
get in the right place, which is here, at the right time, which is now, with the right person, which is God.
Yeah.
Then the door opens, the portal opens into a place of delight, and so we can live every day in Eden. And so I think we're going to continue on in that conversation, and again, understanding the theology behind it, but not trying to stop there. Theology in purity is actually just the study of who God is. There's another thing we call doctrine that a lot of times people associate with theology, but it's not pure theology. it's man making an effort to explain and kind of policy God. And there's an element of God that is meant to be a mystery still. God wants to make himself known, but not to fit in our boxes. And I think that's probably where we go wrong, is when we say, God, you got to fit in my box, whether it be theologically or doctrinally, or whether it be circumstantially. So the story of Eden, what we talked about, is God, at his spoken word, bringing what was in his imagination into reality. And that process of imagination to reality we call creation. And God achieves creation through speaking out what was in his mind or imagination, and bringing from what Hebrews says is the invisible world, or out of invisible material into the visible world. And therefore then the way that we're talking about it is God makes infinite and eternal accessible finitely. And he does that in what I would say is concentric circles.
Okay.
And I think with each one, what he's doing is he's not just making something arbitrary, he's making a representation or an image of himself. Okay. And so again, this is where, when we talked about moment, we were talking about how God took infinite or eternal time and made it finite. And then God built another concentric circle, not just inside of that, but on top of that, kind of like a wedding cake, I guess is how I would talk about it. So the first platform of creation is the platform of time. The second platform, or the circle that goes on top of that, would be space.
Okay.
And he gives us a declaration of himself with which we can interact. That is not just now, but it's here. And then there's a realm that he gives us that is the ability to relate to one another. And so inside of that is where we find community or communion. And then there's another one that's inside of that would be the space of intimacy, which is the center of community. And so the topping on the cake, even like a wedding cake, what goes on the top of it is what?
The bride and groom.
Yes. Yeah. And so God tops, and I don't know if that's what they were thinking when they made wedding cakes, but it should have been, like it should have been like, oh, okay, so the topper, because the crowning point of all creation is, it was first God said, let us make man in our own image, and we kind of talked about this before when we were talking of how God's revelation of himself was always even started with plurality, that he was known as Elohim. That's the first name basically that God gets, which means God plural. And so when he's saying, let us make man in our own image, he's speaking of himself. And I know we reverse engineer the Trinity back into that. And I don't think that's completely wrong.
Okay.
But really there's the way that, and I love the way that the Bible Project deals with this, and I think it's with the help of Michael Heiser as well. Okay. I think it's a part of a lot of that study that's talking about the community of God and the community of divinity. Yeah. And that truly the Bible is not a monotheistic book because it does talk about levels of divinity, but just God is the Almighty God. Even though there's other levels of divinity that we would even throw angels obviously in a level of divinity, right? But not exalted. Yeah. And so when he's the King of all kings and the Lord of all lords, it's not just King of all kings or Lord of all lords on the earth, it's over the heavens as well. Okay. Yeah. So God says, let us make man in our own image. And he crowns creation. Now, the way that it's talked about in the poem of Genesis, it like repeats the same phraseology, right, through the days. And not only does God say, when he calls it each thing he makes, what does he call it? Good. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Which in our homeschool world where we do a writing program with our boys, good is a banned word. Yeah. It's a word they can't use, okay, because we've lost the meaning of it. Yeah. But if we go back to Genesis, the meaning of good is is God saying it's perfect, or it is him, but not all of him? It's a finite representation of him.
Yeah.
So good is actually God. It's just not fully him. It's just a representation of him.
Okay.
So when God says this is good, he's saying this is an icon of me. It represents me perfectly. It's not all of me, but it represents me. So each point of creation, then God is saying that's good. Why? Because it's me finite. It's not me infinitely,
Yeah.
but it's me finite.
Yeah.
And so we can find God in all of creation, even as we look out. So that's where you can kind of pull in the Romans and Psalm 19, Romans 1. How is God evident through all of creation? So nobody has an excuse not to know God. Well, because God put himself in it.
Yeah.
And he said that. He was like, it's good. And it says, then there's evening and morning, and that was day 1.
Yeah.
And there's evening and morning, and that was day 2.
Yep.
Evening, morning, day 3. So there's this, out of God's imagination comes God's declaration. And then the result is God's creation. And in all of it, it represents who God is. It's he's building out his image.
Yeah.
And it's for us to experience him. He tops it. And he says, this is now, I'm going to put the highest concentration maybe of my image in this. And he says, this is man.
Yeah.
And he says, it's good, but it's not quite good.
Yeah.
And why?
Because he needed a partner.
Yeah, because he says, no, like this is my image, but it doesn't represent community.
Yeah.
And whoever you are only that if you're in community.
Yeah.
And so God divides his image, and he doesn't take from the dirt and make another image alongside of. He splits his image in two. And he calls one man and the other woe man, or masculine and femininity. That when they combine, they make a full image of God. What would happen, though, if we lose masculinity or we lose femininity?
You lose the full image.
Yeah, we lose God's image.
Yeah.
And the whole story of creation was that God was trying to fill the earth with himself, with his image. And so the moment we start to lose even, and this is where there's so much of what is in my heart, and I know your heart to do, and we're just trying to take a swing at it with this podcast, is to restore godly masculinity. And not to neglect femininity, but just to realize we are men. And we got to start with ourselves.
That's right.
And do I think a lot of stuff applies to women? I do. But we're just trying to say, God, will you please start with us? And because we want to restore your image on this earth. And so then even in intimacy, when two halves come together to make one, or two ones come together to make one, which is really the story of marriage, then even biologically what's produced?
More images.
Yeah, more images. And so when we're supposed to be filling this earth by being fruitful and multiplying, we really are obeying God in reproducing his image, because he wants this earth to be filled with more of him that's manifest through us. And so even when Jesus comes and reissues kind of this command, to be fruitful and multiply command, it sounds different, but it's the same. Because he says, now to you I give all authority over every dominion of creation. To do what? Make disciples. Make offspring again. Reproduce. Why? Well, because I want this whole earth to be filled with my image, and I've given you now a new Adam. And so Jesus stepped in as the new Adam. That we then get a new patriarch, or probably better said, a new older brother. Because Jesus comes as the only begotten Son of God, but it says he leaves as the firstborn among many brothers. And so we step under the Father. We get a great older brother, which is awesome. And then we get to like perpetuate this new life. So a lot of that to just say, if we're talking about Eden, it's for the sake of trying to get back to that place that God made, where he wants his image to be experienced
Mm-hmm.
and then reproduced on this earth.
Yeah.
And what we believe is that the result of that will be cultural transformation.
Yeah.
That is the transformation of our own hearts, our own behaviors, our language, our marriages,
Mm-hmm.
our families, our communities, our businesses. And so all this kind of comes back to this drawing that we did a long time ago that was this,
Mm-hmm.
that if we divide culture, we would say
Yep.
there's this quadrant is called quote unquote church.
Yep.
And I'm not going to write them because nobody will be able to see them anyway.
Right.
This one would be called quote unquote business, or
Yeah.
not quote unquote. This one, I say quote unquote church just because I think Jesus would ultimately call all this as church. This one's business, education, and then sports or activities. And then this right here, which is called family.
Mm-hmm.
And so our hope is to start in the middle here. That is, here's us as every man.
Mm-hmm.
Here's our marriage. Here's our family. And can we broadcast out?
Yeah.
And can we do what Jesus prayed for?
Mm-hmm.
That can we bring heaven to this earth?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we do that by getting back to what is meant to be at the center of the garden.
Yeah.
And so when all this story is happening, it says that God put two trees at the center of the garden. What are they?
Tree of life and the tree of knowledge, or
Yeah.
tree of good and evil. I don't know. Yeah.
Yep,
I'm saying it
both
wrong.
of those. Yeah, no, exactly. So
I always
it says-
struggle with the right words on that one.
So, well, and I think part of that's because there's a little bit like that at least seems confusing to me about it. 'Cause
Yeah.
tree of life, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Right? You
yeah.
eat of it and you get life,
Yeah.
but it's not just biological life. You get fullness of life, you get
Yeah.
reproductive life, you get eternal life.
Yeah,
Right? That's
yeah.
the tree of life. There were mango trees. There had to be because
There's
mangoes
gotta
are
be,
like
yeah.
heaven, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So there were other trees that smelled good, tasted good, looked good. They ate of them. They were good. But there was one tree that was a tree of life that was
Yeah.
more than just biological life. Then there was another tree in the center of the garden that's referred to as the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when God already went through and called everything that was good, good,
Yeah.
and he did that in declaration to all of creation,
Mm-hmm.
then is it true that Adam and Eve didn't know what good and evil was? If he had already told them.
Man, if that's, I don't. If that's all you know, like,
Yeah.
and you don't know what the opposite is, then
Yeah. So
Yeah.
God declares, here's what's good.
yeah. So
And then the dragon comes along, the serpent that's walking around,
Yeah.
and says to Eve, and I think this is going back to, this is probably third podcast we talked about this, but the serpent says to Eve, did God say you cannot eat from any tree in the garden?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, well, no, God didn't say I can't eat from any tree in the garden, but he did say I can't eat from the tree in the center of the garden. And then she adds a little bit to the law, and she says, and even if I touch it, I'll die.
Yeah.
And in that, her garden recenters.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes off of the tree of life and onto the tree of death.
Yeah.
And that's where all of humanity, all of creation gets broken.
Yeah.
Is at that decision that is deprivation
Versus abundance.
versus abundance that results in rebellion.
Yeah.
And then the outcome is death and destruction.
Yeah.
So if we are saying, as men of God, as marriages in God, as families of God, we want to recenter our garden
Yep.
back off of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, which is really probably better said, I don't trust God
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah.
I don't trust what God says is good.
Yep.
I don't trust what God says is evil. I'll decide for me.
Let me have control.
Yeah. And it really is control for
Yeah.
sure. And actually that's probably a great word to even put on the trunk.
Yeah. Probably so. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's probably spot on.
Yeah.
So what we thought we'd talk about this time is when you live your life when you center your garden around the tree of death, what are the outcomes of that inputs and outcomes.
Yeah.
And then when you center your life on the tree of life, or your focus on the tree of life, what are the inputs and outcomes of your life? Just because, again, we want to get this to practical, and practical means practicable. And I think at the end of the day, I think this is not just a good understanding. I think it's incredibly practical. So, so you think that's good enough background?
Yeah, I think
we
so.
Can proceed?
Yeah.
Man, honestly, I probably took too long to kind of talk about that, but we got there, I guess. All right, so if we talk the center of the garden, or where we focus, if it's the tree of life, that means everything that God made it good, okay? And we've already defined good, and I think goodness is the soil that the tree of life is planted in.
Yep.
And so for a tree, the access to soil is the access to what it needs to live.
Yeah.
And without that, it doesn't have access. So in other words, if a seed is just floating around, then it's not experiencing goodness. In other words, it can't have life.
Yeah.
So probably what we most of the time call salvation is probably in the plant life, it's called germination. It's the place where the potential of a dead seed comes alive.
Okay. Yeah.
And so what Scripture says, unless a kernel of wheat would fall to the ground and die, it would remain alone, or abides alone. But if it would die and be surrendered to the dirt, basically, then it can come to life again, right?
Yeah.
And so with every seed, it has to be dead, but it's filled with potential.
Yeah.
And not just of one life. In every seed is the potential of life upon life upon life upon life, but it has to perpetuate, right? And so that surrender to Christ, or to the goodness of God, saying, I'm no longer going to float out here and define for myself what's good and evil. And I'm not going to be like, well, it feels good, so it's good.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to obey. I think I've just lost the reference for this. It's either Galatians or Ephesians. I've just lost it. It says we obey the cravings of the sinful nature.
Yeah.
And therefore, by nature, we become objects of wrath, because we obey the desires of the air, and so we just blow around, and we think we're free.
Yeah.
Okay, but we're free only to remain dead.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And so we're by nature objects of wrath, just like blown and tossed, and we never find a home. We never find goodness. But then when we're planted into the goodness of God, then the first thing that happens with the seed is it starts to grow roots. And the roots of the tree of life, do you remember what they are?
Grace.
Yeah. So these roots, I think, biblically defined, would be grace. And grace means a gift that you don't deserve. And when we truly have surrendered our lives to Christ, then what Paul then goes on to say, he says, it is by grace then that you have been saved through faith. This didn't come from you. It's not about you. It wasn't about your effort. It wasn't about your energy. It wasn't about your achievement, which to me really matters for men. Because I think we tried, even in our pursuit of God, in our efforts in life, man, we're going to work.
We're going to do it.
And we're going to pull ourselves up. And we fall victim to this lie that's like, it's a self-made, independent man that really has achieved. And actually that's where it puts us over here. And so instead of goodness, we are immersed in evil. And you know what the roots over here are?
It's pride.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And it goes back to the garden. What got them away from the tree of life into the tree of death was the pride of, we can be like God in a way that God didn't make us like him. We want to be more than. I'm going to elevate. It's about my strength, my ability, my achievement, and my definition of good and evil. And so that's why I really think, for simplicity's sake, it's the tree of life and the tree of death.
Mm-hmm.
Because this perpetuates death. This perpetuates life.
Yeah.
This is God gets to define good and evil, and it's a tree of trust.
Yeah.
This one is I don't trust God. I define good and evil for myself. So I think that's why it's called the knowledge of good and evil. I don't trust God's definition. I will define it.
Yeah.
And so the seed that's planted here starts to grow roots that are roots of pride.
Mm-hmm.
And so here, when you know that everything you have, including the breath in your lungs, the money in your bank account, your kids in your home, your marriage, when you believe all of this was just a gift from God.
Yeah.
I didn't earn it.
Yeah.
I don't deserve it. I didn't achieve it. It produces and something starts to grow in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it?
I think it's gratitude, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And out of the root word of gratitude, being grace.
Huh.
Grace is right in the center of the kairos. It's the same root word.
Oh.
So when you know that everything is a gift, what's produced is gratitude.
Yeah.
Because like you just go through life, everything feels like, man, the fact that I'm alive, the fact that I have health, the fact that like I get to go to work today, and it becomes gratitude, not just for good circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, said that wrong. It means gratitude, not just for pleasurable circumstances. Because the grace of God is not always delivered through pleasurable circumstances.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you think about what's in soil, what makes soil good for a plant?
Fertilizer.
Okay?
Yeah.
And what makes fertilizer if we talk non-chemical?
Yeah. Death, decay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Defecate.
Absolutely. So this is death, decay, and defecate.
Yeah.
Right? It's poop.
Yeah.
It's like that's what makes great soil.
Yeah.
Because it actually puts carbon back into the soil as well. So there is an interesting study. If you track carbon throughout creation, it actually tells you a lot about God because carbon is the building block of life.
Okay.
And so God is the author of it. So you can track carbon through this whole cycle, and it will show you the progress of life, which is pretty sweet. So all of this good soil doesn't mean good circumstances or pleasurable circumstances. What grace affords us the opportunity to do is to draw God's goodness even out of death, even out of decay, even out of hard and non-pleasurable circumstances, to where, and I think I maybe mentioned this before, but even for our family, when we walk through my wife having cancer, man, you know what was produced in our life?
Gratitude.
Over and over again. In fact, that was my wife's word for the year.
Wow.
From the beginning, like the whole year that we were kind of walking through that, not knowing what the end would be. And what she would say over and over again is like, people would be like, how are you doing? She's like, I just feel so grateful. Which in this world's sense doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, not at all.
But when you know everything is a gift from God, not just your health, but everything, then even when you lose one of those things, there's something that still grows up, and it's gratitude. I think there's another side of growth. Okay, so we probably would call all this growth. So if this is germination or salvation, then we aren't supposed to end there. Right. And I do think there's way too much modern Christianity that stops right here. Yeah. And basically people get told, oh, you're saved now. Yeah. Because you've surrendered. Yeah. And so that's the end. Yeah. And I think that's so anti-biblical. Yeah. That's the beginning. Yeah. And you're meant to continue to grow. Well, how do you grow? Well, you practice gratitude. Yeah. And you practice learning. Yeah. And so so much of this pulls back to our three questions.
3 questions, right? Yeah.
That is the 3 questions that keep your attention focused on the tree of life. Yeah. The three questions are gratitude, learning, and hope. Hope. Yeah. Okay. So what I believe springs out of this growth and springs out of a life that practices gratitude and learning, it starts to produce branches that are called hope. And hope is where fruit and leaves will hang. Yeah. But without hope, there's nothing to hang them on.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I think the branches of the tree of life are made up of hope. What if we track back over here? Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got pride.
Yep.
And pride probably says, this is mine,
Yeah.
my opinion, my perspective, my effort, my production, my,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then in the heart of a man, it becomes, I've earned this.
Yeah, I deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where this is like, I've earned this, earning or deserving, earning. And probably over here is entitlement.
Yeah.
There's probably two sides to that. Entitlement. Let's just assume that says entitlement. And I think this is what grows around the tree of death.
Yeah.
And I think it's growing. This one is growing prevalently.
Yes.
In the next generation.
Yeah.
Because we're basically raising an entitled generation that believes not only do I deserve things, but I deserve it without doing anything.
Yeah.
Now, there's probably my generation and a little bit going into yours that believes I deserve stuff, but I need to go do it.
Yep.
And so it's like, this is about effort.
Yep.
This is
Control,
about a lack
ownership.
of effort, but either one of them is about mine and what I deserve, what I've earned, what I should have.
Yeah.
And so this is filled with should haves. And so that's what grows the tree of death.
Yeah.
And I think that's growing in our society. Yeah. And instead of hope, what do you think the branches of the tree of death are?
Oh man. I mean, if you're living that way, you're probably full of anxiety. You're probably full of fear.
Yeah, absolutely. So
worry.
I agree with you. I think fear and anxiety become the branches. And so instead of, and I think this is where we got to frame this back where we were talking about earlier. It needs to be living hope.
Yep.
So if our hope is only circumstantial,
Yeah.
Then that's not branches that real eternal fruit can grow on. But if our hope is living hope, and I think the direct opposite of that is anxiety, because that's using your imagination to believe for the worst, or always believe. So what does that look like in a successful man? Okay, because you've got, I would say this side is success, right? Or it results in something that looks like success. Oh man, your tree is growing, and you're multiplying, and you've even got a kingdom, okay? And whether that kingdom is your family or your business or your bank account, it's lowercase k kingdom, and you're growing it, okay? So, and people are able to look and they're like, man, something's growing, like, look at you, you're so successful. The more you have, what do you have for fear?
The more you have for fear, I mean,
sorry, I probably asked it wrong. If you have more, then does fear increase?
Yeah, because then you're worried about protecting it.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Like
so you get a successful man that's growing this, and what grows inside of them is a fear, because the more you have to lose. Yeah. And I think that's the reality with so many men that are of the achieving kind. Yep. Okay. And so it doesn't just become, oh man, I need to have a decent job where I can provide for my family. Yeah. It's, oh, I've got to have enough to be secure for, well, the next 10 years. Yep. Well, no, actually the next 30 years. Actually, no. And then next thing you're talking about generational wealth. And, and it's all like based in this fear of I won't have. Yeah. But man, if you know that everything you have, it came from God anyway. Yeah. Then everything you have, whether it's $1 million or one, you're like, man, this came from God. He took care of me, and He always will. Yeah. And I've never seen the righteous forsaken. Yeah. Never seen them begging for bread. Yeah. Why? Because they have a living hope. And so this is what's produced, and it starts to grow in abundance, okay? Anxiety is a massive problem in our society, and I think it all fundamentally it grows out of this tree. Yeah. When our focus becomes on it's about me, what I own, what I control, and so maybe, what do you think? Is this all this grow here?
Yeah, I think so. It's all about control.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as you're talking, I'm thinking like you and I have used the phrase this manna life,
Yes.
which if we talk about manna, what is it? But
Yeah.
it appeared each day. It was everything the Israelites needed,
Yeah.
and they couldn't store enough up for tomorrow unless it was in preparation for Sabbath.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
versus mammon, which
Yeah, and
is
God was
control,
trying to say, no,
right?
I'll provide, but not in a way that you're in control. I want to provide in the way that I'm in control.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in that, I don't think God was trying to be cruel. I think he was trying to remove fear and anxiety.
Yeah.
Because if you can understand that God can take care of you, where your shoes don't wear out, your clothes don't wear out for 40 years. Wow. And if you can trust God in a place where in the middle of desert, he can still get water to come from a rock, and he can get food to come from nowhere.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I can take you anywhere.
Yeah.
And you won't worry about this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's certainly Matthew 6 right there.
Yeah.
That's like, don't worry. Because like, man, birds of the air, lilies of the field, I take care of them. I'll take care of you.
Yeah.
All right. So if we got hope here, what grows on the branches? Well, it'd be leaves and fruit, right?
Yep.
So I think the leaves of the tree of life, I think they're there to protect. Protection or defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's something we both receive when we focus here, but I also think it's something that we give, okay? Because we become a conduit of what we receive.
Okay.
And so I think as a man, there's probably the instincts, or is that the right word? Inside of good men, okay?
Yeah.
That's like, oh, I want to protect.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think that's the right thing to exercise as long as we don't become the chief protector, but we realize, man, we sit underneath a God's protection. So now instead of us worrying or having fear about what we'll lose, man, we're looking at others and saying, man, how can I look out for you so you don't lose something?
Yeah.
And so protection is the trees here, or the leaves here, or defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the leaves of the tree of death, what do you think they would be? If this is protection and defense, what would be the leaves of the tree of death?
I mean, it'd be the opposite of that. So hurt and offense and
absolutely.
Yeah.
So this, I think the leaves are offense. Or being offended and looking for offense and then offending others.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that's a problem in our society?
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah. Everywhere.
Like, it's become a epidemic, hasn't it?
It has. Yeah.
In fact, like all of critical theory, the way I understand it, is looking for a way to be offended, to find a way that you have been a victim, whether it, and it's not just about race, although it's included into that, but we're perpetuating a society that thinks there's value if you can find offense, and that elevates value.
Yeah.
When all it does is grow more onto here. And so instead of defending people, whether it be our leaders or our spouse or our kids or coworkers, which is what we're made to do. This is what's supposed to grow out of here. We defend people because we realize we're defended by God.
Yeah.
He's protected us so we can defend. Instead, man, in every arena, we're offended and we're looking for offense, and then we're offending others.
Yeah.
And I think that produces fruit. So you got the leaves, and then you got the fruit over here, okay?
Yeah.
And the fruit of the tree of death becomes victims.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's offense that produces hurt or destroys other people.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, I think the first victim of the tree of death is us.
Yeah.
The first victim is a suicide.
Yeah.
And that's where God promised it that way. He said, if you eat of this, you will die.
Yeah.
So if we choose to eat something that God has said this is the result of it, it is a suicide.
Yeah.
It's like I'm ingesting the thing. So even there's a phrase that goes bitterness or Resentment is the
Unforgiveness,
poison that
yeah.
you ingest, hoping somebody else will die.
Yeah.
And so it becomes, the first victim becomes a suicide, but then we don't want to die alone.
Yeah.
And
Bring
so
other
then
people.
hurting people hurt people.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon, like, there's more and more of victims that go back into the ground, and this is the route of death,
Yeah.
and it's perpetual death. Now over here, and I know I've just filled my board. There's a fruit, and this one's called generosity.
Yeah.
And so and then this all this produces scarcity. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is abundance that comes out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance in leaves, abundance in fruit.
Yep.
This is all scarcity. And earthly kingdoms are built in scarcity.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where I heard that. I've just read something lately
Yeah.
that was talking about like all of this, that earthly kingdoms require scarcity.
Yep. The economy is built on scarcity,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
so
the economy of earthly kingdoms is built
Yep.
on scarcity.
Yep.
The economy of God is built on abundance.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it produces generosity. Now, I do think there's a lot of people that would say, "Oh, I want to be generous,"
Yeah.
and they would aspire to that.
Yeah.
But what I think so often is they're trying to get the fruit without going through the roots,
Yeah.
the trunk, the branches.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I want to be generous. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to earn a lot. I'm going to control a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to somehow produce
Yeah.
generosity.
Yeah.
And it doesn't ever happen.
Well, for me personally, I've spent so much of my life thinking about, the John 15, I'm the vine and you're the branches, right?
Yes.
And it's so funny because now saying it, I'm like, I'm an idiot. But it's like all I would hear is like produce fruit, not remain, abide.
Yes.
And the fruit will be produced.
Yes.
It immediately goes,
so
I
true.
don't know if it's just human nature or the way that I'm wired, but it's like I just want to immediately go to, oh, I heard that we got to produce fruit. We got to produce fruit. I got to produce fruit. I must produce fruit. And then all of a sudden it becomes, so I think there's a nice little Christian version of the tree of death there that we live out.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
And just trying to like do this thing and feel like,
because even in God, we go the way of self-effort
so quickly. Yes.
Control of things.
Yep.
And then even when it's produced, we're trying to not do stuff versus trying to do stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we feel scarcity, we feel deprivation.
Yeah.
And then we get offended at other Christians.
Yep.
And then pretty soon, like, we get church hurt because hurting people hurt other people. No, there's like, absolutely, like this isn't a secular thing.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Or it's not reserved for the secular realm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And in fact, probably that describes a pharisaical progression.
Yeah.
That
which then creates soil of pride.
Yeah.
Right?
Even what the Pharisees did was they produced victims.
Yeah.
And Jesus says, look at the death you're producing.
Yeah.
But you're producing in my name. You're taking my name in vain.
Yeah.
And you're calling something me or my kingdom, and it's not. That's your kingdom.
Yeah.
And you're taking my name in vain. You're saying this is for me, and it's not at all. Yeah. So the only way to get to generosity truly is through the route of goodness accessed by grace that produces gratitude and learning, that results in growth. That growth produces hope. Hope, when realized, becomes provision through protection and produce that produces generosity. And then when this falls to the ground, it not only makes more goodness, okay, but it makes more growth.
Yeah.
Because then that seed
100
goes
times
into another. And so now this becomes a garden where this becomes a graveyard.
Yeah.
And so the results of the tree of death is a graveyard.
Yeah.
Victim after victim that just fall to the ground and die. The results of the tree of life is a garden.
Yeah.
And then we're back in Eden.
Yeah.
And when we live like this, man, our homes change, our marriages change, our hearts change, probably in a different order. Our hearts change, our marriages change, our homes change. But if you've ever lived around somebody who has a big garden, man, they always have excess, right?
Exactly.
Like they're always coming over. They're like, I got some cucumbers here. Yeah,
Eat these
man, I got some
tomatoes.
tomatoes. Here you go.
Yeah.
And man, that's generosity. What if we could live like that?
Yeah. You can't help but give it away.
Because it's like, oh, man, if I don't give this away, it's all going to go to waste.
Yeah.
And so here you go.
Yeah.
And what do you want them to do? Well, you want to eat and experience the pleasure of it, but then put the seeds in the ground and let it grow again, you know?
Yeah.
And if we do this, for one, our kids become healthy trees, and they learn how to grow up in gratitude and learning with grace. And then pretty soon, like, our communities are changed.
Yeah.
Our marketplace, our businesses are changed. And so to go back to here, right at the center here should be us and the tree of life.
That's good.
I think that if we center our lives out here in our job, then everything's off center. And there's a tree of death that grows here. If we center it in sports, there's a tree of death that grows here.
100%.
If we center it in education, there's a tree of death that grows out here. And even if we center it out here
in church,
in quote unquote church, and we say this is our life, there's a tree of death that grows here, and that's a pharisaical system. And I think we're suffering with that in America. I really do. I think the way that we're doing a lot of church stuff, unfortunately, produces death rather than life. But this is the hope, and I'm not here to complain about this.
Right.
I'm just hopeful we can change it.
Yeah. Let's go back to the center.
Yeah. Let's go back to the center.
Yeah.
And let's center ourselves around the tree of life. And I know this looks like a mess.
We need a bigger board for you.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
If we can just live like this, it's the most beautiful life.
It is. It is.
So I think there's a lot of practice in that go back to even, and hopefully it ties together some of our other podcasts, talking about the different questions that get you recentered.
Yeah.
And the result thereof, like, how do we live our lives in Eden? And that's the life of abundance. And you told me earlier today when we were talking that's one of the things that you and Ashton are, like, really practicing the most of is, like, God, we want to practice a life of abundance.
Yeah.
And we want to relate to you in abundance, not scarcity.
Yeah.
And how is that changing you guys?
It's changing everything with us, and it's really reframing how we see everything, how we see each thing. And even like you said earlier, it doesn't mean that everything that falls into the soil, it takes death and decay, right? But goodness comes out of that.
Yes.
And then abundance comes out of that.
Yes.
And so, but you have to have that belief. And I think it goes back to the 3 questions of, like, hey, what am I thankful for? Yeah. What am I learning?
Yeah.
And what am I hopeful for?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the result, and this is our hope for everybody, is our hope would be that God's kingdom manifests in an abundant life that has generosity. That's what Jesus said. I've come not just for you to be alive, but to have abundant life.
Yes. Life
to the abundance. And that's the picture of that, at least if we're tying it back with the garden.
Yeah.
Life to the full, a Zoe life. And that life will then bleed out from each one of us. And it doesn't take that many of us to start doing this before we take over the world.
That's right.
And we take over our communities. And so that's the hope, that there would be a turning of the tide and a rising of the tide of abundance that would change every marriage, every man, every marriage, every home, every family, every community, every business, every church, every field, and that we would have dominion on the earth the way that God made us to. Yeah. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Excited for it. Yeah. All right. So until next time, thanks so much for joining us on the Rising Tide Life podcast. See you soon.